Okay, so Hell in a Cell 2021. This was a bit of a doozy and started off in a very weird way, for me at least. Basically, I couldn't get into Peacock right away. I was not the only one of this. There were several people tweeting at the Peacock account that they were getting the same thing. You would click on it and it would come up with a CDN error, and basically I had to go to the last ditch thing, which was to do a complete hard reset on my Roku stick, and yeah, so now I'm like signed out of all but 2 accounts. And I had to go back and, I mean, I had to reset all the way to the factory default, so I had to reinstall everything. Aggravating. Anyway, we had a kickoff show match to start things off. I wasn't able to catch that because I was about halfway through the kickoff show when it finally got clicked through. We had Natalia taking on Mandy Rose in the kickoff show match. This was a pretty decent match to start things off. I think it got a lot of going in it. Some great chain wrestling early on. Rose actually locked on kind of a heel hook type maneuver. At one point she managed to sucker Natalia and got her, pulled her into the throat first into the ring ropes. That was a motif for the night, people getting their throats traumatized. Natalia came back. She kind of got into a guillotine and hit a body slam out of it. Mandy Rose locked on an octopus stretch, but Natalia reverses. She hit kind of a slingshot into the atomic drop. Rose then hit a missile drop kick. Natalia hit a discus lariat. Rose hit her bicycle knee, but Mandy Rose tried to do something Natalia blocked it and locked on the sharpshooter. And Mandy tapped out shortly thereafter. This, like I said, this was a really good match. The tag team partners were there, Tamina Snuka and Dana Brooke. They didn't really get involved, which is weird. I thought at some point one of them would, particularly Natalia and Tamina, because I believe they're the heels in this scenario. But in fact, at one point, Tamina slid her belt up onto the ring apron, so you think, okay, well, this is where it's going to get involved. And no, it didn't, and that was kind of weird. But again, I think this showed that these two are pretty evenly matched. Natalia made Mandy look convincing, which is kind of hard to do. Mandy Rose can look good at times, she can look really bad at times. This was one where she looked really good, though. So, again, I think when partnered with the right person, this can work. And I think I'd like to see a program between those two tag teams now. So, anyway, we're going to move on to the Hell in a Cell proper. Yes, that thing is still red. Anyway, because we're starting on the show proper, we start with the Women's SmackDown Championship match, which is a Hell in a Cell match, Bianca Belair versus Bayley. Right off the bat, Bianca Belair hit 2 body slams right off the ring bell. Bayley pulled out some chairs, kept trying to tie Bianca's hair around everything. Bianca managed to get a hair whip, and then followed into a drop kick the chair back into Bayley's face. Bayley fought out of a suplex and smashed Belair's head off the ring post, the top of the ring post. Bayley then hit an armbar DDT. Belair was selling a shoulder injury at this point. Bianca then tied Belair's hair to the ropes and tried to drop kick the head. Oh no, she got hit with a drop toe hold and sent her into the ring steps. Sorry, that's what happened. Bayley then bit Bianca's arm, which is one of the weirder parts there. Bayley then hit a sunset bomb into the cell wall. She eventually tied Bianca's hair to the ring ropes, and then she tied it to a chair. I'm sorry, and then tried to basically kick the chair back into Bianca's face, but Bianca whipped her hair and caught Bayley in the knee with the chair. Again, the match just kept fighting harder and harder. Bayley pulled out a ladder and jammed it into Bianca. Again, Bayley had used the ladder to hit a rose plant, but couldn't quite get it covered because she injured her knee in the her knee was damaged when the chair hit it, and it was further damaged with the finishing maneuver there. And then Bianca fought out and hit the KOD on the ladder for the 3 count of the victory. Again, really great match to start off the show. Proper, intense, looked like it could go either way. You know, just both women kept fighting and showing some tenacity in there, and everything intense. I believe it was, again, one of the rare ones where I don't think there was any throat attack happening. Anyway, afterwards, Bianca kind of celebrated, and Bayley very meekly crawled out of the cell. And then afterwards, Bianca was interviewed, and she said, you know, that was tough, it was an endurance. Bayley really pushed me to my edge, and I hope I never have to do that again. And it was kind of, are they planting the seeds for Bianca Belair heel turn here or not? So, kind of interesting right there. Okay, our next match is Cesaro versus Seth Rollins. Right off the bat, Rollins jumped Cesaro from behind while he was making his entrance. Cesaro knocked Rollins off of the apron with a big boot. He hit an European uppercut, sending Rollins into the ring barricade. Rollins hit a flatliner that sent Cesaro into the turnbuckle. Cesaro blocked a knee and caught Rollins into a delayed suplex. Rollins hit a flying knee off the ring apron. Cesaro got hit with a thumb to... This is where the throat trauma came back. Cesaro hit a thumb to Rollins' throat, but Rollins got him with a thumb to the eye. Cesaro countered a stomp attempt into a power slam. Rollins hit a discus lariat. And then to the back of Cesaro's neck. Rollins went for the stomp again. Cesaro hit discus lariat to Rollins to counter that. Cesaro did the swing, and then he went to the sharpshooter. He tried to improve. Cesaro tried to improve his hold a little bit, but Rollins caught him into a small package for a 3 count of the victory. Ensuring that there will not be an end to this feud anytime soon. I'm guessing they're both going to be in the Money in the Bank match, but I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, a good sneaky win for Rollins in this one. Again, it wasn't quite cheating. I mean, there wasn't a holding of the tights or anything like that, at least nothing from what I saw. And from there, like I said, Cesaro still looked convincing, but yeah, Rollins gives us the sneaky victory. I think that was kind of what was expected. I mean, Cesaro wins at Mania, he gets his title shot at the last pay-per-view, but then Rollins interferes, so yeah, you have to wonder if he was going to get that back. And the same goes for a match we'll cover later, but that's not that match. Instead, we're going to go into our next match, which is Alexa Bliss versus Shayna Baszler. Right off the bat, they showed Nia Jax and Reginald trying to give Baszler some good luck, even to the point that Reginald attempted to give Baszler a good luck kiss, which she was not having at all. Basically, Reginald tried to distract Alexa, and Baszler threw Bliss into the corner. But Bliss came out, she had a big forearm, she hit some kicks. At this point, she tried to hypnotize Reginald again, but he blocked. He put his hands up, he looked away. Baszler fought back, locked on a wrist lock, and we get reminded once again that Alexa Bliss is hyperfluid in her elbow. And they cut away in this case. Like, you saw it start to kind of pop out that little bit, and they immediately just zoomed in on Baszler. Like, they didn't want to show that. I don't know if that's part of the terms with Peacock or not, but yeah, that was kind of weird. Because usually, again, when they show that, they try to emphasize it. But yeah, Alexa used that to kind of pop free of the wrist lock and deck Shayna Baszler with a DDT. It's at this point that she turned her attention first to Reginald, who again averted his eyes, but she caught Nia Jax and began hypnotizing her into attacking Reginald. However, this allowed Baszler to get up and attempt to cure from a clutch, but Bliss fought out of that and hit Sister Abigail and then the Twisted Bliss for the 3 count of the victory. Afterwards, Shayna just again looked kind of gobsmacked. Nia Jax looked kind of gobsmacked. Everyone, the 3 heels, I guess you would say, looked kind of gobsmacked. But Alexa Bliss just went up and laughed and laughed and laughed. Lily was not involved at all. And that's just kind of how that went. And yeah, this match was bizarre, obviously. This is far more bizarre than any of Bray Wyatt's matches, because at least those, I hesitate to say they made sense, but yeah, this one I was like, okay, so what are you like? I kind of sensed again, since we're trying to do freaky deaky things with Alexa, that they would probably work her elbow into the match at some point, but yeah. But after, I thought once she hit the DDT, I thought someone would get involved, and maybe Jax would attack Baszler, but that didn't happen. So I don't know where they're going with this exactly, but I don't know if I'm intrigued either. Okay, our next match is Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. Again, because of the events of this past Friday, I didn't talk much about the other match on that show, but we'll talk about Kevin Owens getting 2 Nigerian nails from Colonel Aziz, and he was now selling a throat injury, and because of that, Sami basically went after to attack him. Owens tried to show that he wasn't being affected, but he was coughing after several moves. He delivered a kick to the back of Zayn's leg and threw him into the ring barricade. Zayn hit a cheap shot to Owens' throat at that point. Zayn then hit a plancha, and it looked like Owens maybe injured his shoulder in the process as well, because his arm was dangling a little bit, or he was at least selling it as that type of injury. Zayn came back, hit a mini haluva kick. Owens came back, he got a big clothesline. He blocked us. He tried to do a senton off of the ring apron, but Zayn got his knees up, and then Zayn blocked a stunner attempt and a dragon suplex. Owens fought back again. He hit a stunner, but onto the outside of the ring. He got Zayn back in, but Zayn caught him with another cheap shot to the throat, and then hit the haluva kick for the 3 count of the victory. I'm not sure how. Again, throat trauma was the odd motif of the night, and at least in this case, it made a bit more sense since they had set up the throat trauma beforehand. I guess it's not too surprising because, again, it looks like they want to continue this feud. I don't know what else there is to do, though. Again, they didn't face in a Hell in a Cell match, which, again, you think would be a blow-off to the feud, so I don't know how you could blow the feud off. Again, unless they're both in the Money in the Bank match, at which point you would have a real lack of baby faces, at least on the SmackDown side. And we don't know exactly where Big E, Apollo Crews fit into this at all, so again, I'm kind of confused as to how that's going to play out. At some point, Zayn's conspiracy thing has to kind of go to some point, doesn't it? It's just kind of, yeah, he's saying the conspiracy, and now he's saying Owens' lack of success recently is because of karma, but that's just kind of it there. So, yeah, I don't know exactly where it is they're going with it. And that takes us to our next match, which is the Raw Women's Championship match, Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair. Right off the bat, Charlotte stole the belt from the ref and threw it at Ripley to try to get a quick roll-up after the bell rung. But Ripley came back, hit a big boot. Charlotte kicked Ripley in the knee on the top rope, which Ripley began selling a knee injury. Charlotte kicked Ripley into the ring barricade. Ripley came back, hit a headbutt and super kick. Charlotte used the ropes for a knee bar. Ripley hit a missile drop kick after that. And there was one point in the match, too, where Charlotte I don't know if it was intentional or not, but it's like Charlotte hit a big swing. Ripley dodged it, but then a recoil or something, Charlotte hit an inadvertent headbutt, and that kind of allowed her to get the upper hand again. Ripley did come back, hit a superplex, hit a riptide, but Charlotte was close enough to the ropes to get a rope break. Charlotte drop kicked Ripley's knee into the ring steps. Charlotte then locked on the figure 8, but again, Ripley just barely managed to get to the ropes. When they then tumbled outside the ring, Ripley immediately grabbed the placard on the announce table and threw it into Ripley to get the automatic DQ. So Charlotte wins, but she doesn't get the championship. And sort of as this happened, the two continued brawling, And the ref tried to explain, no, the match is over. And Charlotte's like, I know. And then Ripley caught Charlotte with the riptide. And then as Ripley headed up the ramp, Charlotte's like, I taught you well. I taught you well. You're learning now. You know what you need to do. Okay, so I guess Rhea Ripley's going to be a heel. And I guess this does all lead to the big question, which is, when is Becky Lynch going to come back? Is she going to come back before Money in the Bank? Is she going to come back before SummerSlam? How is Nikki Cross going to play into this? Who's going to win the Money in the Bank briefcase? Where is that going to lead? I guess some could call that intriguing, but, it's great that they would put Nikki in that kind of situation, but again, you see that they don't want to put any momentum behind Nikki Cross, because while she has good matches, she's never really been put over the top, especially as a single star. So, again, it's just like, okay, well, where are you going to go with this? And, it seems like you're building towards Becky Lynch returning, but we don't know when exactly that's going to happen. So, again, it's just kind of in this weird nether realm going on right there. Okay, so just before we get to the main event, let's cover, I guess, what happened on SmackDown, because the match that was originally going to be on this show between Rey Mysterio and Roman Reigns inside Hell in a Cell was instead held on Friday. And no one can figure out exactly why they did this. I think, most of the inside guys are like, why did they do it? It doesn't make sense to pop a rating because you're not. Yes, AEW was on Friday nights, but it was later than SmackDown, so it wasn't really head to head in any way, shape, or form. I don't think it was opposite of any basketball or hockey of the playoffs that are going on. So, yeah, again, I don't know why that happened. And so, the only thing I can think of is because it was patently obvious that Roman Reigns was going to win that. And, while it could be entertaining, it wasn't necessarily going to be long. So, maybe they wanted to try to fill things out to a 3-hour show. That's the only thing I can think of. Anyway, let's go into the main event. The Hell in a Cell match for the WWE Championship. Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre. As the ring introductions are being held, Lashley constantly reminded McIntyre that this was his last chance as long as Lashley is champion. At that point, McIntyre immediately halted Lashley going under trying to look for something under the ring, tossed him into the cell wall. He suplexed Lashley into the cell wall. He attacked him with the ring steps. McIntyre then picked up some kendo sticks and used one to hit a white Russian leg sweep into the cell wall. However, MVP interfered despite McIntyre's best efforts to keep him out. He managed to slip his cane to Lashley, who spiked it into McIntyre's throat. McIntyre fought back, hit a white noise off the ring steps. He set up a chair on the corner turnbuckle that would pay off later. He also set up a couple tables. He then hit an Alabama slam onto a different chair. Lashley then dodged an attack and attempted to get the Hurt Lock on. Lashley then drove McIntyre into the cell wall with the ring steps and gained the upper hand. MVP managed to pick up a kendo stick outside the ring and slid it inside to pin McIntyre into the corner. Lashley then came back, hit 2 flatliners onto a steel chair. Lashley then shoved McIntyre, fought back a little bit, but Lashley shoved McIntyre into the ref, knocking the ref out. McIntyre came back, hit a Claymore, and demanded the ref who was on the outside to open the door to come in and count the 3. However, by the time that happened, MVP had also gotten into the cage and thus broke up the pin. McIntyre attacked MVP, knocking him out with a Claymore kick, and then turned back to Lashley, who got the Hurt Lock on. But then McIntyre drove Lashley through the table he had set up in the corner of the cell. Eventually, McIntyre came back again. He dodged a spear, but then Lashley came back and hit a Uranagi through the other table that McIntyre had set up. McIntyre fought back again, was going for another Claymore, but at this point MVP had revived, tripped McIntyre up, and that enabled Lashley to get a quick roll up for the 3 count and the victory. So overall, again, really good match. Again, this does lead some intriguing questions as to where they're going. I mean, I'm guessing they're building up Kofi Kingston, but I don't know if that means he's going to be facing Lashley at Money in the Bank, or is he going to maybe win Money in the Bank and face Lashley at SummerSlam? Both of which are pretty logical options. Again, if Kofi faces Lashley at Money in the Bank, maybe McIntyre wins Money in the Bank and then cashes in on Kofi and turns heel. Completely viable option there, or again, maybe that happens at SummerSlam. Don't know, but again, I could see where something like that might play out. So yeah, I mean, it was a good match. It was not as good as the other Hell in a Cell match. Again, throat trauma happened a lot this night too, in this match as well. Both Lashley and McIntyre were constantly chopping each other in the throats. I don't know why throat trauma was the motif for the night. And this one, unfortunately, I think it's at a way slower pace. It just, because it took so long to set things up, and these two guys they were kind of lumbering around a little bit more than than the women were, and the women were flying around the ring, and everything felt like it had some there were high impact moves in this one too, but it seemed like those were more sort of a life and death struggle, and this was more like, I'm just going to try to knock you out in one blow type maneuvers. And I think that did dial this match back a little bit. But overall, I'd say the show was pretty darn good. I mean, when the two worst matches were Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens and that Alexa Bliss thing, but yeah, which again was the only one that really didn't feel good at all. But yeah, again, every other match, I mean, had drama, did a good job telling the story, had moments, definitely left some intriguing questions afterwards. So again, I mean, the only other real drawback I would say is that streaming problem I had. And yeah, sometimes that could affect my whole overall score, and the fact that I was not the only one experiencing that problem probably, plays into it a bit more overall. So I'm going to give Hell in a Cell 2021 a B. B minus. Let's go with that. B minus. Again, I don't want to go all the way down to C, just because again, most of the matches were really good, and they have set up some intriguing ideas. I do wonder how they're going to pay them off. I sincerely hope we're not going to get Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns again. I don't care about Brock Lesnar. I mean, if we get Cena Roman Reigns, I guess I'd be fine with that. I mean, I'm not too enthused about Cena either. I mean, I don't see Reigns losing the championship anytime soon, and it definitely does. Like I said, though, there are still some intriguing questions for Money in the Bank that could set things up. Hopefully they do a better job setting it up than they did with this show. This show, everything just got tossed in at the last minute, and I definitely felt that throughout this, even though it was a pretty darn good show. Okay, I don't know what the next video is going to be. I'll definitely keep watching Loki, but I'm not doing weekly recap reviews on that. It's just going to be one big review at the end of the season. Like I said, the next movie review, the next two movie reviews are going to be the 3-part R.L. Stine's Fear Street on Netflix and Black Widow, which will kind of be in between all of those. So there might be another video in there. Maybe it's another schedule thing. Maybe it might be a bit more than that. Just kind of me rambling again. It'll probably be over golf footage, not Madden. But you never know. See you all next time. Hey guys, remember to check out my Patreon at patreon.com/SleepyTimeForCat Productions, where you can help me expand my wrestling coverage to stuff beyond WWE, NXT, and the occasional AEW free show.